So Don, I have to respond to your video about silver and saying that a lot of people are talking dangerous things, and I'd like to point out that you are actually speaking a dangerous thing as well. You're saying that for 1,000 years that people have been saying that this fiat currency is going to collapse, and you'd be right because all in the 1,000 years, probably about 1,500 fiat currencies went to zero. So clearly, they've been talking about it for 1,000 years and been right for 1,000 years, right? It's the way it is, right? Paper currencies go to zero. Um, to say that this is not going to happen in America. Well, I don't know if you meant that, but it seemed like you did, and I feel that you're wrong. And yeah, sure, there's going to be some sort of new paper currency in the future, but at the same time, you don't want to be holding the current one. That's the whole point of gold and silver, right? Uh, and the reason why you don't want to hold the current one, right? Like this is a Canadian note, but it doesn't really matter if you're holding Canadian note, Japanese note, or an Australian note because your notes are backed up by the U.S. currency. Now, the problem is right is that how does this thing get created? Right, it gets created from debt, and what's interesting about it is that what keeps it going is that the fact that people are paying their debt because you need to collect these in order to pay your debt. Now, what's an interesting dynamic that's happening is that people in the United States are not paying their debts. And soon states and municipalities will follow suit as well. Thus, you create a problem. Since this is created from debt, what happens is also the note that created this, meaning the IOU note, the whoever signed on the dotted line, is also money as well. And it only becomes bad money is when somebody does not pay the debt. And as you know, if you haven't been paying attention, a lot of people in the United States are not paying debt. So that creates a problem for these things. If people are not chasing these things to cover their debt, and the debt is no good, same with the dollar is no good, right? I mean, that's how this game works. This Ponzi scheme works. Now, because there's confidence in these things, and because there's people like you that actually believe that, hey, this is going to be around forever, they have a little bit more time, but eventually they'll the people, the public will catch on. They may not catch on the same way that I have, but they will. And then, just like von Mises said, and just like every single episode in in fiat currency's life hit cycle, there's going to be a huge crack up boom where everyone rushes into real assets to and dump these things like there's no tomorrow. Now, another thing you should really pay attention to, Don, is that if I were to give you $1 billion, right, that's an incomprehensible amount of money. Yet, that amount of money, is thrown around like it was nothing. And in fact, if you were to give it to a state, the federal government, the state, or municipality, it would be like they received nothing. It would not solve any of their problems. Now, think about that for a second. Who's got $1 billion here in my chat room here? Because I don't. But they seem to be throwing a lot of that around at the federal level and the state level and so forth that they need. All right, so so it's time to wake up and smell the toast burning. All right.